Hey, how you doing? Good. Listen, Geauga County Sheriff's Office. We just want to see if we could talk to you for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. You have any idea what we want to talk to you about? Because I kind of think you might.
Well, my parents said that you were at their house.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think that's about?
It was about a baby.
Yeah. What about?
A baby that was left.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about it? We're not here to judge you, Gail. We don't know what was going on at the time. We don't want to speculate either, okay? So I don't think you want us to speculate. We're not here to arrest you, okay? We are here to take your DNA, okay? And we would like for you to tell us your side of the story, because we'd like to know. As of right now, you're not under arrest. You're not going to be arrested today. But we want to know what was going on. I think after 26 years, it's time. Don't you? It's had to be weighing on you.
Should we go inside?
Well, what we'd like to do is get your DNA, okay? And then we would like for you to come back to our sheriff's office so that we can talk. You're not being arrested, okay? But we need to sit down and we need to hear your side of the story. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to get my stuff real quick. We're going to take your DNA here. I have a signed search warrant from a Geauga County Common Pleas judge. Okay? And I will give you a copy of that warrant. You will have a copy for you to keep. The DNA process is a very non-invasive process. I'm sure your parents probably told you. Just swipe a Q-tip on the inside of your mouth. We'll collect it real quick, and then we'll go back to the sheriff's office. And at some point today, we'll bring you back here. Okay. All right. So let me grab my stuff real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Obviously, our car's right down the street. I have all the stuff to grab that stuff.
Can I let my employer know that I'm not going to be into work? That's where I was going.
Just 1 minute. Right now, I don't want you to make any phone calls at the moment. Okay.
I was just going to text her.
Okay. Where's your phone at?
It's right here on my purse.
Okay. Where do you work?
Noreen Londrigan School of Dance. Is that all right?
Yep, that's fine. And then I'm actually going to just hold your phone just for officer safety reasons, okay? And we'll explain that to you in a second.
Close my door.
Sure. You say you're a dance instructor?
No, I'm the office manager.
Oh, it's a dance school though? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a copy of the warrant, okay? This is your copy to keep. There's your copy of the warrant. That is signed by the Geauga County Common Pleas judge, okay? sorry to do this right here, but you have to understand that the warrant is signed here in Geauga County, so we need to execute it here in Geauga County. And it is 3:07 p.m. right now. Where did you say you worked at? You were telling the sergeant?
Marine Mondrian School of Dance
Oh, where's that at?
in Mayfield Village.
Mayfield Village?
She just texted her boss
Okay.
and just let her know something came up. So
You rub that on the inside of your left side of your cheek, right? On the other side there. What this does is just collect some skin cells from the inside of your mouth. Alright, we're going to go ahead and jump in the car then. We'll give you a ride. Okay? If you want to jump in on this side back here, the sergeant will jump in on that side.
yeah, you don't have any knives, weapons, pepper spray, anything like that, do you? Okay.
Sorry, my seat's a little dirty there, but go ahead and have a seat.
Check her though.
You want to take her first?
Yeah. Listen, I'm just gonna put your purse in the back.
Sam, we'll get you a bottle of water. Is there anything else we can get you, Gail?
No, water will be fine.
There's some tissues there in the box, and we'll be right back with you, okay? We're going to close the door just to give you a little privacy, all right? You okay? Alright, my partner is coming in. Alright, got you some water. Is there anything else we can get you? Do you need to use the facilities or anything, Gail? No, you're sure you're okay? There's some tissues there for you. As we indicated, Gail, at the house, our intention is at this point not to arrest you. You're not under arrest, okay? And we would like to get your side of the story, though. We just didn't want to do it there in your house. If your kids come in or anything, that's just not a good situation, obviously, with the topic at hand. But I do need to, because we brought you back here, I want to go over a couple things. Again, at this point, you're not under arrest, okay? You are free to leave, okay? So I'm going to just read you your rights real quick. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court of law. You have the right to an attorney. We'll provide one for you free before any questioning if you desire. And you can stop answering questions anytime. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And with that being said, we do appreciate your cooperation. Obviously you had indicated that your parents had told you that we had been out, so I'm sure that you had kind of knew that this day was coming. That we were going to be coming out to talk to you, and you know that we got their DNA, which is what ultimately led us to you. what we would like to do is, we're not here to judge you. We don't know what was going on in your life at the time. We know that there probably weren't as many options for people at the time, and but that being said, we'd like to, get your side of what happened.
So at that time, my husband and I were dating.
Mm-hmm.
We were sexually active.
Mm-hmm.
I did use contraceptives, but apparently one didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know I was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
I still had my menstrual cycles. And then my menstrual cycles ended up stopping.
Okay.
I don't know how long they were. You need to know that. I don't know.
But at some point during the pregnancy, they stopped.
Yes, it stopped.
Do you know about when that would have been?
I don't.
In relation, was it wintertime? Was it? Is there anything you could kind of put to it that would tell you as to about when those menstrual cycles stopped?
I want to say about 3 months before the baby was actually born.
Okay.
And I honestly do not remember the date or the day when the baby was born. I do know it was in winter. I was at work. I was a nanny for a family in Shaker Heights. I was waiting for them to come home from school. I hadn't been feeling well at all that day. The next thing I knew, I was giving birth to a baby in the toilet. I didn't know what to do. The kids hadn't gotten home from school yet.
Okay.
The only thing I could think of was to put the baby in a bag. I have no idea what the sex was. I never looked at it. Out to my car and placed it in the trunk. And I cleaned up the bathroom.
Was the baby still in a bag at that time? Or did you put it in something else?
It was in a bag.
Like a garbage bag?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I went on with the rest of the evening with the kids. And then I went home.
Where were you living at the time?
My parents.
Okay.
I was still
at
at
Harwich
home.
there?
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what to do. No one knew. then we had and I don't know the time frame from when to when, but camp that were associated with Koinonia out here. I came out with our youth group for a weekend. And I got in my car. I left the camp for a while. I got in my car.
From Camp Koinonia?
Yes.
I have trouble sitting there, I apologize.
Yes. I got in my car and just drove. I don't know where I ended up. And I just ended up stopping on a road. I don't know which road. And I took the bag out of the trunk. And I laid it in the woods. I didn't know what to do.
About how far from the camp were you, do you remember?
I have no idea. I really don't know. I don't. Other than driving to the camp, I really don't.
You couldn't go too far because you didn't know the road, so how would you get back, right?
I guess.
Was anybody with you in the car?
No.
No.
No, I was by myself.
About how far off the road do you remember you went? Like with the bag, like how far from the roadway you would have went? Or was there anything specific by there?
Nothing specific, no.
Nothing that stands out to you or anything?
No. I remember stopping on the road. There was a lot of snow. I do remember a lot of snow. And I walked in as far as I could, and I left the back.
Did you ever follow or read any stories or anything, in the news, or see any news clipping, stories or anything like that about anything?
I did not.
No.
I did not know the baby was found.
Okay. At what point do you know that the baby was found? Was it recently? Was it a long time ago, or?
No, you were at my parents, and
so
they
that's
had
the first time
mentioned
that you had known that the baby was found?
that a baby was found.
Now, getting back to, you said you were at this family's house in Shaker Heights when the baby was born, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember their name or where they lived at?
I do.
Okay. What was their name?
I'd rather not.
And why is that?
Just so I'm.
Well, you gotta understand, Gail, we need to
Okay.
kind of verify some things, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but, obviously what you've told us, but we need to go back and try to verify some of those things. It's been a long time, so, and you said it was during the week, correct? Because the kids weren't home from school yet?
That is correct.
All right, so you were kind of a nanny in the afternoon?
I was a nanny all day.
All day, okay. But you said some of the kids went to school?
There were 2 children.
There was 2 children, and they would
Yes.
go off to school?
Yes.
And then what time would they come home from school?
3:30.
And you would stay till about what time?
6, usually 6.
6 o'clock, and then you would go, and that's when you went home from there?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you remember what day it was? Was it Thursday maybe, or Friday?
I honestly don't remember the day or the month.
But you said you went to a weekend camp that weekend, right?
I don't know if it was that weekend. It may have been a whole week.
Okay.
Before. I don't remember.
So you don't remember if the baby was in your trunk for like a week or just a couple of days?
It could have been.
It could have been
yes.
As long as a week?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. And you said that you were in the bathroom of the home?
Yes.
When the baby was born, but nobody
yes.
else was home at the time?
No.
No? You were by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, there would have been, the afterbirth and the umbilical cord. How were you able to, cut the umbilical cord?
I didn't.
You didn't cut the umbilical cord?
No.
No? Okay.
I did not.
So you left just basically everything attached to the baby?
I did.
The afterbirth, everything was still attached to the baby?
Yes.
And obviously, you know that the baby was born alive.
I don't remember. I don't recall it ever crying.
Okay. But it's not like it was stillborn or anything. I mean, the coroner's report shows that it actually was breathing.
Okay.
So, at some point, there had to be something kind of that you heard or saw. I mean, the baby had to be moving, or...
It's possible. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember picking it up and placing it in the bag.
Did it actually fall into the toilet when you
yes.
gave birth?
Yes.
So everything just kind of fell into the toilet?
Yes.
Okay, not onto the floor or anything like that?
No.
Okay, so the baby was actually in the toilet?
Yes.
Okay. And then where did you get the bag from and all that kind of stuff?
I believe it was under the kitchen sink.
Under the kitchen sink, so just a normal trash bag?
Yes.
Do you remember what color it was or anything? So it could be clear, white, black?
I believe it was black.
Okay, so like a dark colored trash bag?
Yes.
And everything was still attached to the baby when you
yes.
When you put it into the bag, was it still moving or anything?
I don't recall it moving.
You don't recall?
No.
Okay.
You said you were able to clean the bathroom up prior to the kids you were nannying returning home?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, after you put the baby into that bag, did you immediately take it out to the car, or was there some time lapse while you were cleaning?
I probably cleaned and then took it out.
Okay.
I don't remember what.
I understand it's been 26 years, Gail, and...
I don't even remember what year it was born.
Okay.
But it'd be safe to say it was some time between when the kids would have left for school and when they returned from school.
Yes.
When did you marry your husband?
94.
So it was prior to that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move into the house that you currently...
September of 93.
Okay. And was it prior to that this baby was born?
Yes.
Because you were still living at home, correct?
Yes.
And did you move right in with Mark into that home?
Yes.
In September of 93?
Yes.
And you're positive it was before that?
Yes.
Okay. Were you at that camp at all, during those couple of years, or were you and Mark involved in that camp or anything during that time frame? Oh, you said you went to a weekend camp, right?
Right. With
okay.
I believe I chaperoned some of our youth group
okay.
on our church.
Was Mark there as well?
No.
No. So Mark, was he ever involved with the camp out there?
Yes.
He was? Okay, at that age or later on in life, or?
Well, he went as a camper.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go he was never a counselor.
So he would have went when he was younger then, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What age do they basically age out of being a camper?
Seniors.
Seniors in high school. So once you graduate high school, you're no longer an attendee. You can choose to be a counselor.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, but when you graduate high school, you can still kind of go that summer, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, and then after that, you're kind of aged out, if you will.
Yes.
And then you can come back as a counselor or something like that.
Yes.
Okay. How long before you moved into that house do you say the baby was born? Was it months, weeks, years?
Well, it was in the winter.
It was in winter? So was it like that winter before you moved in? Or was it a couple winters before?
It may have been January of that year. I don't.
But you think it was that year in '93 when you moved into the house?
I don't remember what year it was.
Okay. But it was cold and snowy.
I guess it could have been at the end of '92, maybe December of '92, but the kids would have been home for Christmas break, so it must have been January of '93.
January of '93, somewhere around there, that the baby was actually born.
Yes.
Okay. Were you active sexually with anybody else besides Mark prior to that?
I was not.
No. So you're confident that Mark is the father?
Mark's father, yes.
Okay. Now, getting back to the like how the baby was born and placed in the bag, the umbilical cord was cut. It was not still attached.
I did not cut it.
Okay. Well, how did that umbilical cord get cut then?
I don't know. I didn't cut it.
You didn't cut it?
No.
And you're positive of that?
I am.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about 26 years, so there's, as you said, some things that you're not real
Yes, I
sure.
understand.
But there's no possible way that you cut that umbilical cord.
Almost certain I didn't.
Is it possible, or are you positive that you didn't cut that umbilical cord? Because there's a couple things, Gail, you've told us a lot, but there's a couple things that I am kind of struggling with, and some of that is to do with the baby, because a full autopsy was done. The baby was found. Obviously, that's clear now. And the umbilical cord was cut, and the coroner's report can show that the baby was born alive, and that the baby had taken breaths. So that tells me that the baby was moving, and there had to be some type of screaming or something that you heard or saw. And I don't know if that's just something that you don't want to remember, obviously due to the circumstances.
It's possible, but I really don't remember it ever making a sound.
How about in the bag? Was it still moving around in the bag? Or had it kind of maybe drowned in the toilet? Or was it still kind of moving around in the bag? Well, I can tell you it didn't drown in the toilet because it didn't have water in its lungs.
No, I don't think it stayed in the toilet long before I put it in the bag.
So even in the bag, it's got some oxygen in there. It's breathing. It's taking some breaths. It's probably moving. It's got to be making some kind of noise.
I really don't remember it making noise. I really don't.
Do you remember the bag making any noise? Was the bag moving, crinkling?
Not that I'm aware of. I suppose it could have been when I put it in the car.
Mm-hmm. But either in the toilet or when you quickly put it in the bag, it had to be making some kind of noise or moving around or... But ultimately, due to your condition at the time, your intention was no matter what, you weren't going to keep this baby.
I didn't know what to do.
You didn't know what to do. But because of those circumstances, you didn't know what to do. Was it because you were young, because you weren't married? You're afraid to tell your parents? I understand you're Baptist.
I was definitely afraid to tell my parents. My father was very adamant about not having children before you're married. Because his sister and nieces all had children and he didn't want that.
I can understand that.
Stereotype.
What else was going through your mind at the time? Why you said that I don't know what to do. I'm not keeping this baby. What else was going through your mind at the time?
Well, I think part of it was more of just where I was at, and worried about the kids coming home, and I didn't know what to do.
But you had known for some time that you were pregnant. At least a couple months when you're mentioning and you're afraid to tell your parents that you were pregnant. So you had known for some time that you were pregnant.
Yes.
So, at least for a couple months, correct? Can we say that? You said initially you didn't know you were pregnant. You were still having your menstrual cycles, and that does happen. I think because of that, I didn't know how far along I was. But you hadn't told anybody.
I had not.
And you weren't sure what to do.
I was not.
And did you intend on having the baby, or what were your intentions? You said it kind of come unexpectedly that day, but it sounds like you had made your mind up that you weren't in the right spot at the time. You weren't telling anybody. This was kind of what you were planning on doing, for lack of better words.
I suppose.
Had you planned on? What were your plans when you found out you're pregnant? And
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't remember. I don't know what my intentions were.
Were you gonna? At least for some period of time, you know you're pregnant and you're gonna keep this baby, or you're gonna tell Mark at some point. Or you're just gonna get rid of it and act like it never happened.
I'm not sure. I've never been good with confrontation. So I think I've always tended to keep things to myself to avoid confrontation. So I'm not sure what. I don't know if I ever had a plan or what I was going to do, or I don't remember.
What do you think Mark would have said if you would have told him at the time?
I'm not sure.
Had you thought about that? Like what you were going to tell Mark, or when the baby came?
I don't even know if I thought about it. I don't know. I don't know if I was going to tell him or...
Did you think there was going to be confrontation with him when you told him?
Not in a bad way, but I've always had trouble dealing with things situations. I don't know.
How long had you and Mark been dating when this happened? When did you meet Mark?
We went to church together, so I'd known him most of high school. And then, I'm going to say, I liked him when I was 16. I do remember that. And then we separated for a while. And then I want to say when I was 17, we kind of hooked back up again.
You guys have been dating ever since, pretty much? Dating or married since 17? And when were you born?
1970.
Alright, so 87-ish you guys met? You were still in high school, right?
I was, yes.
And he was out of high school?
Yes.
Okay. So you had been dating for a couple years?
Yes.
At that point?
Yes.
And obviously later that year you moved in together, and the following year you got married, right?
93.
You moved in together,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got married in 94.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you think he would have taken it at the time? What do you think he would have said? Were you afraid that he was going to leave you? What was your concern with telling Mark? I can understand you said your dad didn't want you to have kids out of wedlock.
It was probably, yes, I was probably afraid that he would leave. I didn't want nothing to do with us.
And what makes you think that about Mark? You had obviously known him for quite some time.
That is true. I think I was afraid also for what his family would think. So I always go to the worst scenario and not the best scenario.
And what was the worst scenario in your mind?
Him leaving me.
Him leaving you. That was the worst scenario. And you didn't want him to leave you. So, in your mind, the way to keep him is to not have this baby. Because you wanted to keep him around. Right? So that's why you hadn't told him, and that's why you hadn't told your parents. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, so it seems like this was kind of your plan, whether or not it happened that day or another day, but this is what you had anticipated happening, or the outcome being. You weren't going to tell anybody, you weren't going to let anybody know that this was happening, and whether it happened that day or another day, this was your intentions, because you didn't want to lose Mark, and you didn't want to upset your families.
So
I don't want to put, was that your intention? It would appear that way. Because in your mind, if you tell Mark, he's going to leave you. If you tell your parents, you're going to be ashamed, and if his family finds out, you don't know what they're going to say. And we're not here to judge you, Gail. But if that was your intention, then...
I don't think it was my
Had you seen a doctor at all?
No.
No. Had you been to a doctor prior to that?
No.
No? You didn't go to a regular doctor? You didn't have like a family doctor that you saw if you got sick or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, once we were older, the pediatrician, my parents didn't, make us go to a doctor.
You didn't have like an annual physical or
No.
anything like that? Did you play any sports in high school?
No.
No? You didn't do any kind of extracurriculars where you were required to?
No.
When's the last time you saw a doctor prior to the baby being born, what'd you say?
Oh, I was maybe 15 or 16.
You were 15 or 16 was the last time you went to the doctor?
Yeah.
So what would happen if you got sick, like a cold or you got the flu? Where would you go?
We didn't go anywhere.
You didn't go anywhere. If you needed antibiotics or anything like that, strep throat, ear infections?
No, I don't recall going.
Did your family have health care insurance?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
No, I don't even know if my mother has health care now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we had health care then.
So you hadn't been to the doctor even when you found out that you were pregnant? You had never been to a doctor or anything like that? Did you think about seeing a doctor?
No.
Was it something that came up in your mind, like maybe I should see a doctor? Obviously for a couple months you knew you were pregnant.
Right. I didn't. No, I didn't know who to go see, or who to contact.
So for basically the last 26 years, you've just kind of kept this bottled up inside?
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you've confided in or knew that you were pregnant? Or
I have not.
Nobody knew that you were pregnant?
Nobody knew I was pregnant.
You've never told anybody about it?
I never told anyone about it.
How about Mark? How do you think he's going to deal with finding out what happened?
I'm not sure.
What do you think he's going to say about it?
I'm not sure.
How do you think he should go about finding out?
Well, I'm hoping that I can tell him.
Okay. And what would you say to him?
I think I would just go through what we just went through and tell him.
And you're not sure how he's going to take that?
Sure, he'll be upset.
I think he will. Do you think he deserved any decision back then? Or any right to know? And be a part of that decision that you made for the two of you?
Back then, I didn't know what to do. Today, it's a whole different.
I understand that you may have made a different choice knowing what you know now, but do you think that it doesn't really answer the question. Do you think that he deserved the right to have a choice in that decision that you made for the two of you?
Yes.
What do you think his choice would have been back then if he would have known?
May have been accepting of it.
But he wasn't really given that opportunity. Is it because he would have wanted you to keep it?
No.
No. So you think he would have wanted you to keep it?
Probably.
So is that why you didn't tell him? Because you didn't want to? Because you weren't sure what to do? And you didn't want him to have you keep it because you weren't ready? That kind of makes sense why you wouldn't tell him. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense if he wouldn't stick with you because he married you, you bought a house together, you had kids together. So I think his intentions were that, but I don't think you were ready for a child at that time. And he was obviously a little bit older, so
I
maybe
think
he
I was
was
more scared.
about being a mom.
No. No, I worked with children. I was okay with having children. I think I was more concerned of his loving me. It's always been in the back of my mind.
So do you think he would have loved the child better or more? And
No.
you wanted his attention?
No. He's really the only man that ever loves me. And I wasn't sure if we'd get married. I was always afraid of losing him. So I didn't want to lose him. And I think back then, my thought must have been that I would lose him. Because I didn't know any better.
So you would rather lose a child than take the risk of losing Mark, the only man that's ever loved you? So that was your thought process at the time?
I think so.
That's something this is a very traumatic experience, and this is not something that goes away. This is something that, obviously has been in your mind for the past 26 years. I can't imagine a day has gone by that you haven't thought about it.
Well, not ever knowing if the baby was found, I didn't.
So you never saw, there was news articles, newspapers, news stories, even up until 2016. There were news stories on WKYC and different news, and there was, reward posters and all kinds of stuff. They had a ceremony for the baby.
I did not know.
You never heard that throughout the years.
I did not.
What went through your mind when you found out that we were at your parents' house 2 weeks ago?
So my dad called me. So I was at home. And I just went through a whole anxiety and couldn't breathe. Kind of been like that for the last 2 weeks, off and on.
Having anxiety attacks?
I wouldn't call them attacks, just hypertension, I guess. Thinking about what was going to happen.
Did you tell your dad when you spoke with him?
Did I tell him what?
Did he know? Did you express to him that it was your child?
I did not.
Do you think he was able to determine that while he was on the phone with you when you had your anxiety strike?
I don't think so. I was short because I was getting ready to leave for work. So, and his memory of the details weren't the best, so.
He's older. He's a little bit older, and
He is.
kind of confused a little bit.
Yes. He had a massive heart attack 3 years ago, and this is, so I just kind of let him ramble on like he does, and I told him that I had to go because I had to leave for work.
So right now, the only people that you've ever talked to about this are the two of us sitting here in this room.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one outside of this room you've ever spoken to about this or that would know about this?
I have not.
The house that you said you gave birth at,
Oh, yeah.
where was that located at?
Shaker Heights.
Shaker Heights?
Woodbury Woodbury Road.
Woodbury Road. What was the name of the owners, the last name of the owners?
Cantor McNulty family.
Cantor McNulty family. How long had you worked for them when this occurred?
Well, I worked up, let's see, my twins were born in 97, and that's when I left. I stopped working in June of 97, or May of 97. And I had worked for them for 4.5 years at that point.
When you left in 97?
Yes.
You'd worked for 4.5 years?
4.5. It may have been, I think it was 4.5 at that point.
So you stayed working for them for a duration of time then after all this occurred until you said the birth of your twins?
Yes.
And those are your oldest children of the twins?
Yes.
Okay. Back to the day of the birth. You said you would trade the bag from under the kitchen sink, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What method of closing the bag up did you use when you put it in the trunk of the car?
I think I just tied it in a knot.
Just tied it shut?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a plastic, and you said black plastic trash type bag, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you can't recall if it was in the trunk for a week, if it was a week had gone by prior to when you went to the youth retreat, or just a few days?
That's correct.
Okay.
I don't remember the time frame at all.
Would anyone else have driven that vehicle?
No.
That was your car, you owned that car?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What kind of car was it? Do you remember?
That time I had a Ford Taurus.
What color was it?
Tan.
A tan Ford Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Did you purchase the car, or was it something your parents bought and it was just, you were the only one who drove it?
No, I'm pretty sure it was in my name.
It was in your name?
Yes.
So this was 93, so what year would that car have been? Was it newer, older?
It was older. It was a used car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what year it was.
Do you remember how long you had it for? Did you still have it when your twins were born?
Oh, no.
No.
No. I don't even think. I don't even know if I can remember if I had it when we were married. It wasn't a very good car.
No, it was older.
It was.
What year did you get married?
94, October 1st.
October of 94. And you said you moved in, what, September?
September of 93.
And that's to the house that you currently live in now?
Yes.
During your pregnancy, Mark never knew that you were pregnant. He could never tell. Did you remain active with him during that time frame?
I believe so.
Yeah. And you could never tell that you were pregnant. It never came up, like,
He never said anything. I never said anything.
Obviously, at that time, you guys had to be talking about some type of a future together. Because just a few short months later, you kind of moved in together, and within a year and a half, you're getting married, so there had to be some kind of talk.
So we did purchase the house in 93, but he never let on that that he was gonna. I had no idea that he was gonna propose to me in December of 93.
So it wasn't even something that you guys had talked about having a future and kids, and never came up in conversation. It just kind of came up out of the blue.
Right. I mean, we had talked about it, but he was, because of purchasing the house, just felt like it wasn't time that he could purchase a ring or anything like that.
Financially, he was kind of strapped.
Yes, he felt strapped.
But typically, people talk about, their futures and getting married and whether or not they want to have kids. And
yes.
So at some point, that had to kind of come up in conversation while you guys were dating.
I'm sure it did, yes.
And was he always of the opinion he wanted, like, a large family, or what did you two talk about?
I think we were both agreed that we thought 3 children was a good, nice number of kids.
So you both had wanted kids?
Yes.
And talked about having a couple, at least 3?
Yes.
And it was a good number, so...
Yes.
And they had come up throughout your dating?
periodically. I mean, it wasn't point of conversation all the time.
No, I'm sure it wouldn't be. But you guys talked about having a future together and
Yes.
and raising a family.
Yes.
So it seemed like you wanted to have kids.
Yes.
And eventually you did have kids.
Yes.
So again, what is it that was going through your mind there in March? That made you think if this was coming up in conversation and you guys were talking about having a future and getting married and having 3 kids, what is it that he wants kids? When you guys are dating, you're talking about it in the future. What is it that made you not want to tell him?
I was scared. I was scared as to what my father would think. And I think I was scared just because we weren't married, and
But you knew you wanted kids eventually.
yes,
So
I did know that, yes. Yes.
You told us earlier, too, that you think, had you told him at the time, that he would have wanted you to keep the child.
It's possible, yes. But I don't think that was what was going through my head. That wasn't going through my head.
I understand you say you're scared, but I just don't quite understand what you're afraid of. Other than, I understand your parents knowing that you're pregnant out of wedlock. But as far as, telling Mark, you guys are dating for 4 or 5 years at that point at least.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are talking about having a future. You're talking about occasionally, not every day, but talking about getting married, talking about having kids. You both want kids.
Mm-hmm.
Later that year, he buys a house and proposes to you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I'm struggling with the fact that you're scared to tell him. When it's just met. There is a one night stand.
I know. I don't.
It seems like there's more, and you're giving us a lot, but there's just something else that was going through your mind at that time, and I don't know what it is. If again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. If you just weren't ready at the time, or what was going through your mind. I could see if Mark's saying, "Listen, I don't want kids. I never want kids. We're never getting married," but he's talking about it, and you guys are having conversations about it. You guys are even talking about, we want 3 kids, and lo and behold, you have 3 kids. And very shortly after, you're moving in, you're getting engaged, within a year and a half, you're married and living together.
I'm not sure. Really, I'm not. Other than I was afraid of losing him because of it.
But again, he's talking about that, but then he wants to have kids.
I understand.
I would think most women would think opposite, that it was a way to keep him. That it would almost be a way to keep him. We have a child together, and it's kind of a way to. But I don't understand how that would make you afraid to lose him. You guys have had a relationship for several years. You're in a relationship.
Yes. We were in a relationship. I was afraid. My father finding out. That's all I can think of. I was afraid of losing him. I was never felt certain that he loved me.
I can understand it.
Never the prettiest girl. I wasn't skinny. I wasn't the smartest girl. I never thought highly of myself.
Was there a concern that it could be somebody else's?
No. No. Nope.
I could see that if you were worried that, maybe it was somebody else's and you're afraid to tell them.
Not at all.
I just really struggle with that, Gail, that seeing that, just in a few months you guys are moving in and getting married. And
Well, we weren't even looking at houses.
I understand that, but again, it had to be coming up in conversation, and even if it's just occasionally. So you guys are building a relationship, have been together.
Yeah, but it took me a long time to feel truly loved by him.
So again, was it that maybe that would divert some of that love from you to the baby? And the baby would be getting his attention and you wanted his attention?
No, I don't think I thought that at all.
Why don't you take a little break, step out. Do you need to use the ladies' room or anything?
If it's not too much trouble.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll take it out of order. It's just right across the hall here. If you make a right here.
Hey, use the one across from Michael Ford's office instead.
Okay. Back with you, okay? Is there anything else I can get you, Gail? Okay.
Water, is there something you need? Okay. Got your other water if you want one there, Gail.
How you doing, Gail?
I have to go to the bathroom again.
Do you? Oh, what they do? That's sorry. No, don't be sorry. It's been a little while. We'll go back to anything on the... You doing okay still? I'm kind of calming down a little bit. Have you thought of anything else in the meantime since we talked that maybe you think we should know about?
Not really, no.
No. What's kind of taken a whole while is we also had a search warrant for your husband's DNA too. Okay, because we believe that he was the father as well. We had kind of connected some family members on his side of the family as well. Not as extensive as we had on your side of the family. We've actually been working your side of the family for quite some time. We have probably 1,400 people in a family tree that we amassed, working the DNA back until we recently obviously made contact with your parents, but we believed that he was related to the baby as well. So we made contact with him. He had made some statements that were a little contradictory to what you had told us. Had you ever been pregnant prior to this pregnancy?
No.
No. There's, besides your 3 children that you have and this baby that we're talking about today, is there any other pregnancies or children or anything besides those 4?
No.
Throughout your whole, life up to this moment?
Even prior to 93?
No.
Because your husband had indicated that he was aware that you were pregnant at some point, and that you told him that you were going to a doctor, and that you had told him that you were pregnant. We have other investigators that were out with us today, and they're actually speaking with your husband right now and have been for quite some time.
No. Never told him I was pregnant, that I was going to a doctor.
He's pretty adamant that he did know. He wasn't sure of the time frame. He said it could have been around 92, 93. It might have been a little bit, a couple years prior. But he wasn't sure, but he was in fact aware, and you were telling him you were going to a doctor's office on a regular basis and seeing a doctor. And that he knew that you two were having a child. Is there any other pregnancy or any way that he knew about this? Maybe you just don't remember? Again, we're talking about a long time ago.
If he knew, he never told me he knew.
Well, he said that you guys had talked about it, and you had told him that you were going to see a doctor.
Were you pregnant again prior to this baby we're talking about today, and you never told him?
No.
So you've for sure only been pregnant 3 times in your life?
I had a miscarriage before the twins, but we were married then.
Okay. When do you think that was?
I think it was 95.
Okay. And he was obviously aware of that pregnancy or no?
Yeah.
Do you recall about how long you were pregnant?
Pretty sure I heard the heartbeat.
Do you know what trimester that would have been?
It was 95. I know I lost the baby in September.
Of 95, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Which doctor were you seeing at that time?
It was Dr. Herman.
Herman? And where was his office located?
At Hillcrest.
At Hillcrest Hospital?
I think he was across the street in those medical buildings.
Okay. How many times did you go to see Dr. Herman?
For that pregnancy and then for the twins.
Okay. But how many times did you see him for that pregnancy specifically?
The first one?
Mm-hmm. The one that you had that you lost?
The miscarriage?
Yes.
2 or 3.
2 or 3 appointments you had with him?
Yeah.
And was he aware that you had the miscarriage?
Yes.
That Dr. Herman was?
Yes, I was at Hillcrest when he had the miscarriage.
You were in the hospital when it happened?
Yes.
So that one is documented?
I believe so, yes.
Well, if you're in the hospital, it should be.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was 95-ish. You said September of 95?
Yes.
But you weren't sure how far along you were?
Maybe 2 months. 2.5 to 3.
So most likely still in the first trimester?
Yeah.
Was there ever a time prior to the incident we're talking about today that you ever thought you could have been pregnant?
No. No.
You said that you and your husband, did you liked him when you were 16? Did you guys date a little bit when you were 16?
We did.
What caused you guys to separate? You said you separated as well.
He just didn't ask me out anymore.
Okay, so you went on like a couple dates, or were you guys kind of,
Yes.
exclusively seeing each
Oh,
other?
yeah, no, just a couple dates.
On a couple dates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You guys have like an argument or a disagreement over something specific?
No, he just never called to ask me out again. And then I reached out to him.
After a period of time?
Mm-hmm.
And how long was that period of time?
Oh, I don't know. I was 17.
What made you reach out to him?
Well, I liked him.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious if he'd go back out with me again.
And you said, obviously during the time around this event and before that you were sexually active with your husband now, your boyfriend at the time. When were you guys first active?
Not till maybe 18.
When you were 18?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
So was it the second time that you guys had started dating again?
Yes.
Okay.
Did they tell you what caused you to have a miscarriage? Was there anything like were you having some type of a medical issue? Or?
No, I just started bleeding during the night.
Okay. And you got taken to the hospital then, I take it?
Mm-hmm. Mark took me to the hospital.
Mark took you to the hospital and of course.
Mm-hmm.
Did you disclose during that pregnancy that you had been pregnant prior?
No.
No. Did they ask you that?
No.
No, they never asked you if you had previous pregnancy?
No.
Like any kind of doctor's paperwork normally, when you go to a doctor, and you said you hadn't been to a doctor previously
Right.
for many years, so
Right.
normally they make you fill out some, kind of
Right.
intake paperwork, if you
I
will.
probably filled out paperwork, yes.
So I would think that was on there, any previous pregnancies, especially when you go to see a gynecologist or
Right.
something along those lines that, they would ask you,
Yes.
if you had previous pregnancies, previous, times that you lost babies. So I would think that was on there, but you don't remember, it was or it wasn't, or you don't recall or something?
I don't recall. It could have been, I don't.
But you don't remember if you would have filled it out accurately or if you would have lied about that, about the previous pregnancy that you had?
Well, if it was on there, I probably didn't mention it.
So you probably would have lied, correct? Is that fair to say if it was on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you ever gone back to the area where you dropped the bag with the baby in it?
I have not.
Have you ever tried to find the area again?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, you've been out to a camp since then, right? Because your kids went there,
Yeah.
and I think, do your kids work there, Ritchey?
Yes, I have 2 that are working there this summer.
And what are they doing there?
My son is doing maintenance, and when Courtney's done with her first round of internship at a daycare in Geneva, then she'll go out and she's kind of program manager, I guess is a good way to explain it.
And you've been out to the camp since this incident, correct?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when you go out there? Doesn't bother you?
I just go to camp.
But obviously you know that you left your child, just in a very close proximity to that camp.
I don't remember where
But obviously you were at the camp and you drove from there,
Yeah.
so it was somewhere close by. That doesn't
Yeah.
kindle those memories, or
It hadn't, no.
no? It's something you just left in the past.
Mhm.
When you were out at the camp, at the time that you got rid of the baby, you were functioning that weekend as a youth counselor, is that correct?
Yes, I think I had a couple of teens there.
Okay. Was there any other counselors with you that weekend, or were you the sole?
No, I think I was the only one.
How many teens do you think would have gone with you with just one counselor?
There were 3 or 4 girls.
It was like a weekend-long retreat, or so you stayed a couple nights?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you remember any of those girls' names by chance?
Yes.
Yeah, who would they have been?
At the time when they were teenagers, it was Erica and Monica Wilkins. And I don't recall, their older sister might have been there, Chris.
What are Erica and Monica's names now? Do you know what their married names are?
One is Stovall, and I'm drawing a blank on Monica's.
How old would they have been? You said they were teenagers?
Maybe 16, 17.
You know, it's cold, like wintertime. Was there any kind of a special purpose for this
It was
camp?
probably a winter retreat.
A winter retreat, so it would have been like spring break maybe, or
No.
no, just a weekend getaway?
Right.
Okay. And you said it doesn't bother you to go out to that camp at all?
Well, it hadn't.
Mm. Did you ever wonder what happened, or think about, I wonder what happened, or?
I think I did for a while after,
Mm.
but then I never heard anything, so I think it just, I had 3 kids that I was raising and involved with.
You said you were obviously still with your husband during the pregnancy. You stayed together, and you said he was not aware of it. What measures did you take to hide that pregnancy? You said you were still intimately involved with him. How were you able to keep him from knowing you were pregnant?
Well, like I said, I was always heavy set. So I don't recall really showing or like women do.
Did you gain a lot of weight, do you remember?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't. I think I probably stayed about the same as I always was. I was always over 200, 230 in weight.
You know, every woman's different in different pregnancies. Sometimes you gain weight, sometimes you don't, and so every time it could be different. Did you take any other steps to try to hide it from Mark?
No.
No. Because obviously you don't want him to know.
Right.
But you didn't have to do anything else to keep it from him? He just...
I don't think so.
Since this has all been kindled up in the last 2 weeks, what's going on with you? What is this? What are you feeling right now?
I'm ashamed, embarrassed. I thought about taking a bunch of pills today.
And did you think about that today when you saw us, or earlier before that?
No, all day.
All day
I
evening?
woke up with that feeling.
Are you still thinking about that now?
So when I got myself to go to work, still had it in the back of my mind that I would do that.
What would the goal of that behavior be? To end your life?
Yes.
Okay.
As we told you earlier, Gail, we don't want to see that. We're not here to judge you.
No. There's a lot of other people judging me right now, and
Like who? Who's judging you right now?
well, myself.
Yeah.
And God. And now that my husband knows.
Oh. That is our concern at this point, is your safety. Not only from yourself, but from other people. How do you think Mark will react to this? I mean, are you concerned that has he ever been violent with you?
No, never. No, he's been a wonderful husband and father. Couldn't have asked for a better person in my life.
Obviously, this is...
And that's why I struggled so much with trying to tell him or
What about his family? Are they...
oh God. Can only imagine. We have a wonderful family.
But how do you think they're going to react? Would you be concerned for your safety from their family?
Not
His
my
family?
safety, no.
Mm.
No, I just don't think I'll ever be spoken to again.
Where do you think the safest place for you would be right now?
We're not so sure it would be back with Mark. We're not saying it's not safe, but we're not sure how he's going to deal with that. This is something, obviously you've known this and battled with it for 26 years. This is something that has been literally dropped in his lap today out of nowhere. And I don't know how he's going to react to that. And we're concerned for him and for you. We have no intentions of running out of here telling anybody what the crux of our conversation was today. However, you have to understand, over the last 26 years, this was a very big case. And in that regard, I don't know how you didn't know about it. There's been news stories, newspaper articles. Like I said, even as recent as 2016, there was a news story that some of the original investigators did on the news. It was probably a 12-15 minute article that they did on the news. So this is something that was and is something today very big in the community here in Geauga County. There's people that, like we said, donated clothes. They donated the burial expenses. There's a headstone.
Yeah, there's a headstone and a memorial. They did a ceremony and did a headstone and memorial. And your child is referred to as Geauga's baby.
Because so many members of the community donated different things for your child. And they maintain that gravestone. So this is something that is very big in the community. And with that being said, we are concerned for your welfare and what is the best place for you. So where do you think the best place would it be? With your sister, maybe?
Probably not.
No. Why do you think that? We have not told her. We did have a search warrant for her DNA as well, but we did not execute that today. So we have not made contact with her. We've only made contact with you and your husband today.
Where do you think you'd be safest, Gail? Are you still having thoughts or considerations of ending your life or harming yourself?
I guess now that it's all out on the table, I guess probably not.
Do you feel better that it's all out on the table? In some way, there's got to be some burden left off to you, something that you've kept in for 26 years.
Well, it's only been something that I've known. I've dealt with
sometimes those
a lot of burdens.
What other burdens have you dealt with?
Growing up wasn't easy in my house.
What is that?
My father was an alcoholic for 16 years of my life.
It's not easy to deal with.
No. He was verbally abusive. So when I said I never thought highly of myself, that's where that comes from.
From dealing with the alcohol. And speaking to a lot of your family, I understand that even though your dad was adopted, that was something that was, his parents were not known to be great parents.
I didn't know that.
As your father and two of his siblings, when your grandmother passed, they were given up for adoption. Your father was only like 18 months old, I believe, and he was given up for adoption. Is there a place that you can be safe tonight, or that you would feel safe?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Am I allowed to see Mark?
I don't know how that's going to go.
We have to check on that.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you yes or no. Again, we don't know how Mark is taking this.
Because we haven't seen him yet. He's not here right now. And obviously, if he's highly agitated, I don't want to expose you to any type of risk of harm.
Our concern and our responsibility is your safety at this point. And where is the safest place to be, not only from other people, but from yourself. In talking to you, you've already had thoughts of harming yourself.
Today, I'm going to venture to guess, was not the first time that you considered taking those pills.
It was.
It was the first time. Did you consider harming yourself any days prior to today?
No.
What triggered that today?
Just thoughts in my head.
What were those thoughts, Kim?
Just trying to spare family embarrassment. Shame and didn't want my kids to see me this way.
Your kids still love you, Gail. It's not going to change your love for you. You're still their mother. What was it specifically about today that changed, though? Because you've kind of known for probably close to 2 weeks that this day had to be coming.
Right. I knew that, what you just said, yeah. And I don't know, I just going over in my head what to do, how to tell Mark.
Did you try to tell him in the last couple of weeks?
I've tried in my head to think how to tell him, yes. Like I said, I've never been good with confrontation. I've gotten better over the years. But ultimately didn't want to do it just because I didn't want my kids coming home and finding me.
You need to think about your kids. Because it's going to harm them even worse. What's done is done, and the mistakes you've made. But to do something like that is only going to hurt them even worse. Have you ever seeked any other mental health professionals or seen counselors or anything, Al-Anon, AA, anything like that, to deal with some of the issues from your father? No. And previous to...
It wasn't to be spoken of.
It was just... Have you ever previously had thoughts of harming yourself?
No.
No? It's never been an issue. What is it about your sisters that you don't think will be safe?
Well, I suppose they'll be safe, but her husband's a police officer. So I don't...
Do you get along with him?
Yes, I get along with them fine.
Do you think he's gonna... I mean, is there a concern with him, or... I mean, he's
No,
still your
but-
brother-in-law.
I know, but
Well, your
I
family.
don't want to take this into their house.
Okay. And you don't think you'd be safe at your parents' house?
Well, I probably would, but they don't know yet.
They don't know. We haven't told them. I don't know if they've put it together. I don't think that they have. Is there anywhere that you could think of that you would be safe?
Guess I don't want to take my mess into anyone else's house.
Well, as we told you earlier, our intent was not to put you in jail tonight. But we do have a duty for your safety as well.
Gail, if we had you talk to a mental health professional, would you be willing to do that? Would you speak with someone if we were able to find someone to talk with you?
Sure.
Let's see if we can get something set up. Gail, we have genuine concerns for your safety at this point.
Yeah.
You may not think so, but we do. So we need to to see if we can get something worked out for you. So if there's anything you could think of, I understand that you don't want to bring your issues into somebody else's house, and I respect that. But we also don't know, I mean, your kids don't know, your husband just found out. We don't know how it's going to go.
Gail, when was the last time you ate today?
You said before you left
half
for
an
work.
hour before I left for work.
We'll see if we can.
Okay, do you want me to see if I can find you something to eat?
Well, we'll see if we can get you something, and then it's your choice if you want to eat it, okay?
Okay, give us a little bit of time to find somewhere that we know is going to be able to ensure your safety, okay?
Okay. The last thing that we feel like we need to talk about with you is the fact that obviously you know now we had a search warrant for your DNA. All right, and we have your DNA, and that is not only going to be compared into the child, but also into the database. And there are many, unfortunately, other cases out there. And your DNA is going to be in the system, and it's going to be compared to all those cases. And now is the time, if there is anything else, that you need to get it out there. You've come, clean with this, what's happened here. You've told us what's happened. If there is anything else that your DNA is going to link you to, because unfortunately there are other baby cases that happened, and those are still open. And then there's other homicide cases here in Geauga County and in Asheville County and Lake County. And now that we have your DNA, it's going to be compared to all those cases. It's going to be in that system. So if there is any other issues out there that we need to talk about, now is the time to do it. Because I'm not getting warm and fuzzy that this isn't the only time, that there may be some more times. And it's going to be compared to all those other cases, Gail. And the last thing you want to do is say that you came in here and be honest with us, because, part of what happens is, truth in sentencing and showing genuine remorse and coming clean. And if there are other issues, now is the time that we need to talk about them. And I truly believe that you know that there is other issues. And we're here to listen. We're not here to judge you. We're not yelling and screaming. But you know and I know this isn't the only time. That there's more times that this has happened. And now is the time that you need to tell us about those, Gail. How many other times has this happened?
One other time.
One other time? And when was that? Was it before or after this child?
Before.
Before. Was that what Mark was talking about, the 1991? Because he had told our investigators in 1991 that there was another pregnancy that he was aware of.
I didn't tell him
Okay.
I was pregnant. So he may have known.
When was this previous pregnancy?
Probably about that time.
About the 1991 time?
How old were you at the time? Would you remember that? Would that be easier to remember?
20, 21.
Okay.
20.
Explain that situation to us.
Tell us what happened. Is it Mark's child as well?
It is.
Okay. And tell us what happened on that situation.
Pretty much the same situation, other than I had the baby at his rental house.
And where's his rental house?
It was Euclid.
Euclid? Is that on Harwich?
Huh?
What street was that on?
No, it's where he was living. And 248th Street.
Okay.
He rented from his brother.
Mm-hmm.
He gave birth to it in the toilet.
Is that a boy or a girl?
I don't know.
You don't know.
And I never.
You didn't want to know?
I never looked.
Okay.
I don't know.
What happened after you gave birth to the child?
I did the same thing. Put it in a garbage bag.
And what did you do with the garbage bag?
I left it.
What do you mean you left it? What does that mean, Gail?
I took it and left it over by medical buildings in Euclid.
Where did you leave it exactly?
There's a road called Brush Road. It goes up behind very tall medical buildings that are there. And I just left it over in the tall grass.
Kind of like field area, you left it in the tall grass?
Yeah.
What time of year was this?
Summer. I think it was summer.
Summer, and you think you're 21? Do you remember what year it would have been?
It's either 90 or 91. I don't recall what year it was.
Okay, but it would have been summer of 1991?
Yes.
And how would Mark have known that you would have been pregnant around then? That's what he's advised our other investigators, that you were pregnant around then, that you would have had a miscarriage. Did you tell him that?
I didn't have a miscarriage.
I understand that, but
Oh.
would you have told that to Mark?
If he figured out that you were pregnant at that time and you told him you had a miscarriage? Because
No.
he seems to think that around that time you were pregnant and you told him you had a miscarriage.
I don't recall telling him that.
What color trash bag did you put the baby in?
I'm not sure what he had at the time.
Do you remember tying the bag?
I probably did.
I mean, do you remember though?
Most likely.
Or you're not sure? If you're not sure,
No.
don't say you're not sure.
I probably tied it in the house.
Was the baby moving in the bag?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Do you not remember, or do you just kind of block that out of your memory?
I may have. I really don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
And can you describe this building to us? Now, you said Mark lived on 248,
Yes.
and it was Brush Road, and I'm not that familiar
I know.
with Euclid, so was Brush Road close to 248, where his house was?
Yes, it wasn't. It was up the road about. Half a mile.
So would you have gone south or north on 248? Do you know, like towards the lake or away from the lake?
Away.
Away from the lake.
So it was off of Euclid Avenue.
Right, so then you had to go 248 to Euclid.
Mm-hmm.
And which way would you go on Euclid?
East.
East. And then you would come
And
to
then
Brush?
You have to turn onto Richmond Road.
Okay. Which way would you turn onto Richmond?
Right.
Right.
And then Brush is off
Off of Richmond?
of Richmond.
And you're describing turning left onto Brush?
Yes,
And then which side was the office building on?
on the left.
On the left.
Do you think if we took you there, you'd be able to show us the area?
Yeah,
Do you remember if that baby was ever found? Did you see?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I never heard.
You never heard?
No.
And this building was on your left. What color was it?
I think they're either white or brown.
White or
There's
brown?
two large medical buildings side by side.
If we gave you a piece of paper, can you kind of draw the area where you left the baby? Let me get a piece of paper real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, when you come back, I'll grab an overview. Gail, is that the only other time? It's only 2 times. Are you being honest with me about that?
Yeah.
Okay, because like Detective Seaman explained to you, your DNA will hit the database in a matter of days. And it's going to connect to all those files, all those missing unidentified persons. So if you're not being honest with us, we're going to know. So now is your chance to be able to get on the front end of this. There's nothing else you need to tell us.
No.
Okay.
Not that I recall.
You've forgotten another incident?
No, I don't think so.
Can you kind of draw us how that shows where maybe where Richmond and Brush is?
Okay, this is.
We're going to get an overview.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oh.
I brought you a couple extras. No.
Didn't make enough room for 2 buildings.
Oh, that's all right.
That's one.
Is it by that first building?
I think so.
So the baby was here.
Yeah, somewhere in that.
So this is part of Brush Road, or is this like a driveway for the building?
Oh, this is Brush, and that's the driveway.
All right, so that's a driveway right there, and the building's here, and the other building is like right here.
Yes.
All right, was there anything over in this field at all?
No, just really tall grass. There were houses here.
There were houses kind of behind here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Was there anything else distinguishable about the area?
No, that's what it is.
So, and you birthed that child as a full-term baby?
I believe so.
But it looked full-term?
I don't think I even looked at it.
Well, you had to have, you grabbed it, you moved it, you had to have seen it. Whether or not you're blocking that out of your memory because you don't want to see it, but you did see it.
Okay.
And, but it was, you believe it was a full-term baby? Not sure. Well,
I'm not sure.
You went into like normal labor, right?
I think so.
All right. And that was 90-91.
Yeah.
And how do you know the difference between that child and the child that we found? What is so distinguishable? Was it because of the location? That's what reminded you of, the child that you birthed on 248th and the child that you birthed at the home in Shaker Heights? But it's very similar in nature how it happened, right?
Yes.
Anything else that you think that we should know about that case or that child? You don't know if it's a boy or girl?
I don't.
You know?
I did not.
Did you ever think about any names for these children?
No.
No? You didn't want to? Because you didn't want them?
Yes, no.
Okay, so that's 2. So, again, your DNA is not going to be, it's going to tell us, so.
I understand.
And it's going to link you to that one, and it will link Mark, much as it did in our case. What other ones are there?
There are none others.
There are none others. You're positive of that?
Yes.
Okay. Any other issues that you think are going to come up when your DNA hits the system here in the next few days? Any other crimes or criminal acts or?
No.
No. It goes into a big database just like fingerprints, so it's called CODIS. And that's where your DNA will go, and it will, be checked against any other, crime victims, evidence that was collected, suspect stuff.
Nothing to anyone else. No.
Just these 2 children. Alright, hang on one second, let me see what he's doing on the aerials, and we're going to figure out how to get you over there and get you checked out.
So, are these the medical buildings?
Yeah, if you would have, you can see where Brush breaks off of Richmond, and then these are orthopedic and pediatric buildings, and
those are the buildings, so, okay, use your pen.
And I understand this may have looked different, in 1990, 91. You said as you came up Rush from Richmond, the building's on the left, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that would
I
be
guess this is the drive that I'm
Okay.
trying to get this.
So when you went to the right side of the drive as you would be entering, off the right-hand sides where you...
So, like in this area here is where...
Okay. Can you just initial by that dot for me? Okay, I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah.
If you would like to eat it, you obviously don't have to. But there's some food for you.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's been a little while. We're going to take you over to the hospital and have you talk to a mental health official, okay, or a professional. Is there anywhere else you could think of that you would be safe tonight? Is there anywhere you think you would be safe?
Sure, there's plenty of places, but I don't want.
Well, we're going to take you over there and have them check you out and make sure you're okay, and you're willing to go talk to mental health, right? Okay. Why don't you grab your stuff, we'll take you over, okay? Appreciate your patience. You want to take that lunch with you or anything?
No, I think.
The hospital is right across the street, so we'll take you over there. Let's go to